Okay, here is another depotting video, and I'm going to be depotting L'Oreal HiP eyeshadow duos. These are an interesting eyeshadow to depot because there's so many different levels to the actual packaging, and actually it's pretty much a waste of packaging. But anyways, the label doesn't come off too easy, so I kind of break off that bottom part where it has, some have a mirror and some don't, but it's where they keep the little shadow applicators, and I kind of just heat up the label a little bit to loosen the glue. And then I just go ahead and peel off the label, and be careful doing this because it still might be a little hot. And then because I broke off that bottom area, I'm able to heat up underneath the eyeshadow pans. And again, like my video before, don't forget to do this in a well-ventilated room. And if you really know how to work a lighter, I mean, you know how to turn it on, but you know that every part of the lighter gets hot and everything, so be careful with that. Or you can use a long stick lighter that lights candles. It might be helpful too. So after I heat everything up on the bottom, I just use the back of a fingernail clipper, so like the little file part, and I just get right under the pan, which sometimes there's like a little bit of room between the pan and the packaging, and I just pop it out. So that was all the packaging for these two little pans of eyeshadow. So I put the eyeshadow back to back, and I'm using a clean towel here, so it's okay to put the eyeshadow face down. And if you noticed before, I checked to see if it stuck on my magnetic Z palette, and it didn't. So I have to put a magnetic backing on it. So I used the same glue slash tape that I used in my previous Urban Decay depotting video, and I stick it on the magnet that I punched out with my 1-inch hole punch, or 1-inch punch from scrapbooking. And I kind of hold these two together, these two eyeshadow pots, the two colors from the duo, and stick the magnet on there, kind of holding them together. And then I put the label back on top of that, so when I go to use the eyeshadows, I know what the item is, instead of putting the magnet over the label. And then what I have to do, since the label is bigger than these two pots together, excuse me, I just cut around the excess and cut it off. And then once I'm done with that, I just go ahead and put it in my Z palette. And actually, I'm going to show in my upcoming eyeshadow collection video how I organize my eyeshadows. So please look out for that so you can see a better version of how I organize all this. So here is one more depotting of the HiP eyeshadows again. So like I said before, break off the bottom part where the applicators come in. And if you notice, this one does not have a mirror. So I just, again, heat up the label just a little bit so it could come off easily and not tear. And sorry, this is a little out of shot here, but I'm just kind of peeling off the label. And there it comes. So it peels off nicely. And I just put it aside so I can go ahead and depot the other or the eyeshadows. And sorry for all that makeup I have on my hand. I was just curious about all the different black colors I had. And so I put everything on my hand just to compare. So again, use a lighter and light underneath the eyeshadows to loosen the glue. And remember, again, keep this well ventilated. I have my fan on in my room and my window wide open. And so I just stick my little what is that? Hello, I just said it. Nail clippers, the file end. I stick that into the little teeny tiny space between the shadow and the pan or the container, and it's just able to pop out that easy. And I do the same thing for the other side. Just kind of wiggle it in and try to loosen it up a little bit. And if it doesn't happen in one area, then go ahead and reheat it a little bit. And then try everything all over again. So go into a different area and see if you can get your implement between the pan and the container. And just wiggle everything, just be very gentle with it, and it should kind of just pop out. And be gentle with popping it out too, because if you kind of bend it, you can crack the whole eyeshadow. So then again, what I do is I put the two semicircles back to back to make a circle, and I punch a magnet paper with a 1-inch scrapbooking punch. You can get it like Michael's or Joann's or a craft store, Hobby Lobby, whatnot. And put that sticky glue on the back side of the magnet, which I say is the white side, but you can do either side, they both stick. And just peel that off and then stick that onto the pan. Can you kind of see that there? Just a little rectangle. I had to actually cut them all apart. I mean, or you can use any type of glue that you think would stick to that back of those pans. You don't have to use these little sticky pieces, but anything that works for you or that you have around the house will be fine. So then I put the label back around, and then I flip it over, and you notice how it's a little bit bigger than the eyeshadows? I go ahead and use my scissors to cut the excess off around the shadows. And just do as best as you can. You know, it's not really going to be seen under there, so it doesn't have to be perfect. So then I put that in the Z palette. You can use a Z palette or, you know, a excess MAC palette where you break the eyeshadow part off, or you know, a homemade palette or whatnot. Any of those will be good. So here I'm going to depot one more so you guys can see one more time in speed motion how I depot a L'Oreal HiP eyeshadow duo.